A creamsicle. Say it ain't so. Actually, I don't have a lot of my tools. They're actually out in the shed. But for those people that are watching later, it's much more fun to watch live. Highly suggest it. It's a good night for coffee. So here we are with the cup of coffee. I don't have a lot going tonight. I really don't know what I'm going to find here. I do know that something's messed up in the trigger. Something's broken. And I honestly don't know how to fix it because I don't know what's going on. And I'm out of Kleenexes. Okay. 2 bags of garbage here I haven't dealt with either. And I should bring you up here on this phone. See who's here. So I'm going to bring you up on this phone so I can see who's talking and chatting. If you want to be involved, hit the live chat. Right, just going to bring you up right here on the phone so I can see the chat. Six people. William made it. How you doing, man? Ken. William. Who else is here? James made it. Good. I know. Mixed mowers. Okay. Welcome. I know. Most people won't actually be familiar with me working on Stihls because I generally don't work on a whole lot of Stihls. Not my thing. I need a bigger for this. So this is, I think, is a 362. And it belongs to Steve. And pretty per usual, he hasn't cleaned the air filter in like 3 years. Steve. Actually, you know what I gotta do? I gotta text him the link. Hang on a second. It is creamsicle night. I don't know why. And Craig's here. Great. Text Steve the link. He has an odd work schedule, so I don't know if he'll get it. Okay. Don Randall's good. Okay, how's it going? We cracked a few fins off of here. Look at that. Jeez. Got a bit of an oil leak, too. Although I have a sneaky suspicion he's not really worried about the oil leak. What is it, double flocked filter or something like double flocks? I think the whole thing's pretty plugged. And looks like he's missing his AV mounts in here. It looks like there's supposed to be AV mounts here and here. Anybody familiar with these? Because I'm taking a shot there in the dark, you know. You know what? Let's pull off the M8. No, thing is, I don't want to get too deep into it if I don't have to. Question about the 272. What's the new Ryle compression? Real compression? 150, 160 should be. This looks like just like a pin. It looks like if this is the same as the 361, there should be a screw on the underside of the handle, up under here, on the end, which you guys can't see right now, but doesn't look like a screw, looks like a pinch. You just pinch it and it pops up, I think. Let's see. Need a long pointy nose. Nope, it's a pull. Pull them apart. Now this is liable to go flying. Let me see if I can do a little bit of cleanup here. That way we can look at this a little clearer. That way I have some record on how to take this darn thing apart. It looks a lot like the other models too, the 361 or 360 rather. I had the 360 and the 660. It looks very similar to that. A little bit of cleanup just to. Looks to me like something's awfully worn in here. I think this just pops out. Okay. Don, what's the squish? The aftermarket heads don't have as much squish as the or as much compression necessarily as the OEMs. So let's push the pin out here. So if the question is how did I know that pin would pull out or push out, I didn't. It looks to me like I need to get a new trigger. I better pull that off too. Yeah, so 140 is a little low, but it's not awful. It'll run. Is it awesome? No. But what are you gonna do, you know? Left all my tools out in the shed. This is Steve's Stihl. Steve Stihl 362, not mine. So this saw is used by a tree guy like daily. I Wolfie was given us 460, 288, and 394. Okay, looks like I need to remove do you get? Ah, I gotta pop that first. Okay. Like that. I do not know if I'm getting that back in there. And this throttle rod appears to be a little beyond me. Of course, it might just be that the throttle rod fell off its actual mount, and the AV mounts help hold it in place. A Husky 350 is not unlike that in some ways. There's a seat for it. To be honest, I do not actually see how this throttle works. And off the cuff, looks complicated as all heck. It's not obvious to me how and where it grabs. I know. That's because I'm a Husky weakling. I understand. Should click in there, so it slides back and forth like that. Okay. But then where does this... I don't see it. Maybe there's a missing piece in here, but I am just not seeing how that throttle rod works. But it doesn't look like where it hooks. I mean, this is I'm sorry, Wolf. This is just completely. I can't see where it friggin' hooks. And this hook, the shape of it makes absolutely no sense. Does this just slide right off now? Nope. It does. It just. I'm such at a loss here. Unless it doesn't click into there at all. Which it looks like it should click into, but whatever. Is that bent weird? I don't know. That's one issue. The second one is that wherever it actually attaches to on the carb doesn't make any sense. On a 660, I can make sense out of it. Don, you should be scared. I don't like them. And I'm really starting to not like this. Of course, I don't know if there's a piece missing in here, you know? You know what I mean? There's a rubber... Here, I'll try to bring this up so the camera can see. And then you can see my plight here. So if you actuate the throttle, like Wolf said, there's a hook right here, but I see no real way to get this onto that hook. In addition, this is awful worn out. It's got wear spots like crazy. That goes up in there. But where does it stink and grab? There's no place it just wants to set into, you know what I mean? I'd really have to see a diagram on this. Gonna have to go over to the dealer and see what the heck is going on. Because I can get it to grab, but if I pull on it, it won't actuate. There's no set spot that it sits into. A 455 Rancher has a little spot, click, and you're done. Unless I'm actually actuating this the wrong direction, this should be flipped somehow. Which I don't see. There's nowhere for it to grab proper, so it actually actuates anything. All right, fine. We'll take the carb off. Because this is sufficiently stupid. I don't... Take the carb off. I really don't like this stuff. No, this is all OEM. I don't think this has been ever... Does it look like it's ever been messed with? Okay. So, let's get this piece. So how does this grab here and actually actuate it? Because it goes under this way, but that's awkward. It looks like this is actually at the angle of this rubber piece. But it has to make it twist. It rotates into it. Into what? There's nowhere to stick this. It doesn't go in there anyway. See, there's no place to actually stick this. So no, I know that there's a linkage into the intake boot right here. Hang on, there's stuff falling into the intake, which I'd rather not have happen. I know that there's a linkage right here. So this goes in, up and in and over, and then I think this slides there, right? And then this goes there. So this actually actuates sideways like that. Oh, it rotates. Okay. Put the carb on now. Okay. Just want to make sure the fuel line's good here. Yep, that's good. I gotta say, I don't think I ever would have guessed that. I don't think I'd ever would have guessed that it rotates. Instead, because throttles, you go up this way, you know. Wolfie, you rock, buddy. Thank you. I was for sure lost. Just lost. I just... But stuff like this drives me nuts. Like, you know, they had a design, it worked. Nope, let's change it. Let's go with something that's basically impossible for somebody to figure out if they're just doing it off the cuff, you know? But I really needed the darn AV mounts, you know? I think I owe Wolf more than a couple. At this point. Because that was a pretty good call. Yep, that still works. I think, see how this moves? When you actually, I'll bet these AV mounts are integral to how this, you know, functions proper, and I'll bet something came off the tracks in here. How's that? All right, now I gotta go clean these filters, which is going to take me a while. But I think you need the AV mounts here are pretty essential in order to not have this jump off the tracks. You know what I mean? There, that'll let me choke it. And half. The AV mounts are important. Officially, I don't like the setup. I really don't. All right, so what else we got, guys? So I just spent Saturday and Sunday putting in. No, I'm not. I'm not doing a 441. I know somebody with a 441, and I'm not going to be doing that. Yeah, I think the 044s and really probably the old 660s are actually pretty straightforward. Um, this is annoying. And by the way, if you actually look at the the throttle and whatnot in here, this is like tiny. The carb is tiny. I think the Husky 562 is tiny also. The throat of the carb is tiny. I haven't seen one, but that's what I've heard. Man, this saw is really pretty beat. Yeah, I guess just certain things about what seemed to be a simple job here, like the handle, the trigger. Oh, this is actually the trigger, and this was it the operator switch. This is not bad. Like to pop, you got it. Take it apart, no problem. But if I can't off the bat figure out that the whole darn thing actually actuates by rotating and not pushing and pulling, that something's off there. I think amazingly this thing still runs. Yeah, Steve, I think the fuel injected one is interesting, but I just don't have any need for the darn thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, the whole thing moves without the AV mounts. I bet those put them in much more sturdy. I don't know how they, disappeared, but I can always venture a guess. $462, maybe. There you get the 462 and the 572 and all kinds of stuff in between, and everybody's got their own opinions and all that. For me, 394s all the way. um, what else? So yeah, I spent 2 days. Saturday, my dad came up. My mom and dad came up, and mom helped with the kids, and dad helped with doing some digging. We did some digging out in the back, and we dug some post holes for the fence I'm putting in. And post holes in Connecticut are awful. They're just awful. Because the rock that you hit is crazy. There's just no, you go down 6 inches with the post hole digger and it stops. It's always nice looking 394s, of course. So, anywho, um, so I got a grand total of 2 post holes dug Saturday, and I started digging one yesterday. I spent probably 2, almost 3 hours digging one hole because you need an 8-inch diameter hole, and you start digging rock out, and it ends up being 3 feet in diameter by the time you're done. And by the time I got it to about 3 feet in diameter, I realized I was on the sewer drain. Always happy to look at nice looking 394s. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Put that up. Yeah, Darren. No smog saw here. So, yeah, I realized I was on the sewer drain. My neighbor was helping. He's like, "That's sewer drain." And I'm like, I had the guys come out and mark everything. So they marked the sewer drain running parallel to the fence. They didn't mark the one that actually traverses where the fence was going to be. So I ran right into the. So after 2.5 hours, whatever, of digging, I had to fill that hole back in and move the post. How's that for awesome? Anyway, so that was a very aggravating day. And I finally got one post in somewhere around 6 o'clock, right about when the mosquitoes were coming out. So it was a long day yesterday working on a single post. Hopefully, I can move on from that and start actually making some progress. But I've got on my property alone probably 14, 15, 16 posts to do. So, and considering it took me an entire day to do one, I don't know how much more I can do. Anyway, I'd say that's about that for the evening. And all that stuff. Questions, comments, anything, guys? Anything going? Anything else you want me to talk about? Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, if I do one a day and consider I'm working, then I'm getting nothing done. I have a post hole auger. That's not the problem. I go down 6 inches and I hit a rock. It stops. Steve, I'm telling you, you digging holes in Connecticut is a good idea to me. The auger, the post hole digger, all kinds. I mean, it's just tough. So anything else, guys? Any questions, comments, anything? Anything? Sorry about the buffering. Take care, guys. Enjoy your evenings, okay? Yo, and I'm out. Bye.